Once you know how to use expressions to tie graphic elements together, I'll bet you'll have a hard time building an infographic without them. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, now before we start our project, I think we should play back our animation so we can see what we're dealing with. I'm going to move my current time indicator back to the beginning of my timeline and just press the spacebar to begin playback. And you can see I have two groups of lines that are just kind of scaling up into the scene. And what I want them to do is actually make the background snow. So with each additional growth, it's going to create thicker and thicker snow. So we're actually going to link the scale change of these bars to the amount of snow in the scene. And you can press home on your keyboard or just drag your current time indicator back to the beginning of the timeline to go ahead and make sure you're on frame 0. Let's start by adding an adjustment layer. I'll go up to Layer, New, Adjustment Layer. And with this adjustment layer at the top of my layer hierarchy, I want to generate some snow. And that's actually a simulation. So we can go up under the Effect panel and then scroll down to the Simulation area. And I want you to choose Snowfall. Now with Snowfall applied, it's actually already got snow ready to rock. If we press the spacebar to begin playback, you'll notice I can't really see very much snow. You might be able to see just a little bit here, but if I press the spacebar to stop playback for a second, what I want to do is increase the size of these flakes. So let's click and drag on the size parameter here in my Effect Controls panel, and let's make the flakes pretty large. We want big puffy snowflakes so everybody sees them. We'll make them around 15 in size. Okay, now the number of flakes is what I want to actually control. So let's start by selecting our white outlines layer and pressing the U key. And you'll see that I have a scale change. If I scrub with my current time indicator, the Y parameter starts at 0 and goes up to 100%. So let's select our adjustment layer and then press return to rename it. And we'll just call this Snow _ 01. With Snow 01 selected, we can now go up to the Flakes area here and then hold down Alt on Windows or Option on Mac and click on the stopwatch. That will apply the expression here in the timeline. So what I want to do is click on this little pick whip here in the timeline and then drag down a little bit until I can get to not just the scale parameter for the white outlines and not the X parameter, but the Y. Notice it puts a box around the Y parameter. When I let go, it's writing that expression. So now if I go ahead and just click outside of my expression and move, you'll see it'll actually add snow into the scene. But the problem we're running into, it's only added 100 flakes. And that's because it's a one-to-one relationship. It's saying this comp layer white outlines transform scale value 1. Well, if we look here, the scale value of 0 is this 100%, and the scale value 1 is this second parameter. So as you have parameters, like let's say it was a 3D layer, and you had position X, Y, and Z, it would be 0, 1, and 2. So since this scale only has X and Y, it's 0 and 1. So anyway, you can see the Y parameter only goes up to 100%. And I want it to go at least 10 times that high. So I'll scroll back up here and notice my expression. I can see the type right here. If you just click once on the type and then move your mouse all the way to the right side and click one time again, you can add the asterisk key, which is the multiply key. So I'll press Shift 8, which will add my asterisk key. And so this will create a value times whatever I tell it. So if I say times 10 and then click anywhere outside of this line, that'll set that expression. Now notice it's adding 1,000 snowflakes. So if we roll it back, you can see no snow. And then if I scrub through, I have 1,000 flakes. Well, what if I want a blizzard? Well, sure enough, let's add a blizzard. I'm going to click here in my expression. I'll click on the right-hand side. Instead of 10, let's set it up at 100. Now I'll click outside of here, and sure enough, we have a nice blizzard. Let's press the space bar, and we can see we've successfully linked the appearance of our lines to the amount of snowflakes. If I press the spacebar to stop playback, here you'll see the number of flakes is now 10,000. Once you start linking layers in After Effects, I think you'll find it very useful. All you have to do is just Option or Alt click directly on the stopwatch and then point the pick whip at whatever parameter you'd like to link. And then if it's not responding the way you want, it's easy enough to just add a little bit of math at the end. I added multiply with the asterisk key. If I wanted, say, 1/10 the number, I could add divide with the backslash key and say divide it by 10. All right, I think you get the idea.